call this Norwood City Council meeting to order. If everyone can please rise for a moment of reflection and the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Before we get to roll call, we do have one bit of unfinished business to take care of. We would like to welcome Mrs. Franzen to her first meeting since. So we will have that ceremonial inauguration. Emily, if you want to step forward, and those of you who are swearing you in.
Thank you.
I, Emily Franzen,
I, Emily Franzen,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to abide by the Constitution and laws of the United States of America,
to abide by the Constitution and laws of the United States of America,
the Constitution and laws of the State of Ohio,
the Constitution and laws of the State of Ohio,
the laws and ordinances of the City of Norwood,
the laws and ordinances of the City of Norwood,
and to execute the duties of my office,
and to execute the duties of my office,
Norwood Council at Large,
Norwood Council at Large,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
and in a manner which demonstrates the trust
and in a manner which demonstrates the trust
which has been placed in me
which has been placed in me
by the citizens of the City of Norwood.
by the citizens of the City of Norwood.
So help me God.
So help me God. Thank you, ma'am.
All right, now we can call the roll, please.
Mrs. Franzen.
Here.
Mrs. Hoover.
Here.
Mr. Province.
Here.
Mrs. Bowling.
Here.
Mr. Moore.
Here.
Mr. Gurton.
Here.
Ms. Sullivan.
Here.
We have all members present this evening. Moving on to amendments to the agenda, we have several. We are adding a second special presentation, and that will be Jessica Miranda, the Hamilton County Auditor. We are adding, actually, we are moving communication number 4 regarding the request for executive session. We will make that communication number 5. And we are moving the Norwood Tree Board report, or the minutes, to communication number 4. So that will be removed from reports of standing committees of council, and that will move to communication number 4. Mr. Gurton.
Make a motion to amend the agenda as stated.
Motion by Mr. Gurton to amend the agenda as stated. Mr. Moore.
May I ask a clarifying question, Mr. Gears?
Yes, you may.
For the law director, Mr. Moore, are you wanting to keep that communication for the request for executive session, or is that voided?
Mr. Moore.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm happy with not having it because the reason I asked for it did not come to pass, but there's members of council are interested in having an executive session. So it's there as a reminder.
Okay, thank you.
Mrs. Franzen.
I second the motion made by Mr. Gurton.
Seconded by Mrs. Franzen to amend the agenda as stated. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Franzen.
Yes.
Mrs. Hoover.
Yes.
Mr. Province.
Yes.
Mrs. Bowling.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes.
Mr. Gurton.
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan.
Yes.
All members present voting yes. The motion carries. Next item on the agenda, the minutes from the January 13th, 2026 meeting. Mrs. Franzen.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes.
Motion by Mrs. Franzen to approve the minutes as if
As
read.
if read, yes.
Mrs. Bowling.
I'll second.
Seconded by Mrs. Bowling. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Franzen.
Yes.
Mrs. Hoover.
Yes.
Mr. Province.
Yes.
Mrs. Bowling.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes.
Mr. Gurton.
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan.
Yes.
All members present voting yes, the motion carries. Moving on to request to address council. We do have 2 of those. The first is Charlene Myers.
Are we vice versa? I was texting behind the teacher's back. And for those of you who know why that's funny, I was a teacher, so that's why that's particularly funny. Oh, there's my time. I'm Charlene Myers.
I didn't start it yet.
You know how conscientious I am about that. I'm Charlene Myers, and I'm the director of Focus Cincinnati. And this will be my last council meeting in this role because I'm retiring, believe it or not, for a second time. My successor was unable to come today, but I do want you to know the name Seth Dukas because he will be my successor. And I'm hoping that he keeps up the periodic updates from Focus Cincinnati. And I'll definitely shoot his contact information to all of you so that you have it. The warming center has been open, and it has been open since, I want to say January 17th, I think that's right. And unfortunately, we had to close on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, and you're going to say, really? But that was mainly because we didn't have volunteers that were able to get out of the house and to come and assist. That was really the only reason. And we are opening again tomorrow. But one of the things that I think council needs to know, you know, you always, I don't know, I think sometimes you guys are in the same position I was as the principal. You heard a lot of negative things instead of something positive about Norwood neighbors. And here's something positive. We've had 5 people, random people, walk into the center and drop off things for our guests, including hand warmers, thermal underwear, you know, thermal, I don't know if it's called that, so sorry. But things like that just are out of the blue. We've had 5 parishes, Orthodox parishes, contribute coats and shoes and boots. And the boots and shoes were a last minute thing. Some of our guests came in with holes in their, you know, in their shoes. And so it was just, hey, can we just put a call out to get some boots and shoes? People were running to Costco. I guess they had a sale and they donated boots and shoes. But I just think it's amazing that in Norwood, you have people that just come out of the blue, see that there's a center and say, hey, how can I help? I mean, and they dropped off the thermal hand things, the other things, they dropped off drinks, they dropped off snacks, all kinds of things. None of it that we were asking for or saying, you know, hey, this is what we need. We didn't even put a call out. This was just such an amazing gesture. And it does make you feel really good about what you're doing. You know, sometimes you think, is this really the right thing? And then you find out that this happens and it obviously becomes, this is the right thing. So in sharing that, I think that's just really special and is really just something that, you know, you should take pride in terms of the Norwood residents and how they do step up and they do support the work that we're doing. So thank you. And it was a pleasure to work with each and every one of you. I really appreciate the time that you've given me. Thanks.
Thank you. And our next request to address council is Bishop Sonny James.
I'm definitely aware of the clock.
Oh.
And yes, Charlene's presence will be missed, but I'm sure she won't be far away.
Before I start the clock, I did want to call out Mrs. Hoover. I missed her hand earlier.
Apologies. I just wanted to say a personal thank you to Charlene. I've known her for years. She actually worked with my husband outside of Norwood, and I love to joke that all roads go through Norwood. Whether you're from here or not, you will have a relationship, you will have a connection here in Norwood. And what you have done, Charlene, in connecting these different faith-based organizations and providing real concrete on the grounds support. I went to my closet the other day and got some old coats. Had a receipt from 2019, so I figured it was time to get rid of it. I also had $3, which was very exciting. And I was able to stop by the church, and it is such a beautiful, loving, warm community. And the fact that you have gone out of your way to engage so much of the community and make time to come to these meetings, I just want to say thank you so much. And I know that you won't be retired for long.
I will still, if I could say this, I will still volunteer. I just need a break to get my health back in order. I feel like I've kind of worn myself down a little bit, but I target after May, I'll come back and kind of do things.
When the weather's a little nice.
And I'm not coughing. I have this annoying cough where people are like, sit next to her.
Not me.
Sorry, thank you.
All
Mr.
right,
President.
thank you. That did not count for any of your time.
Hey, I
haven't even
appreciate
started
those
it
few
yet.
seconds. I first of all, let me state for the record, I know we have tons of folks watching right now, and I want to say for the record, I believe Norwood, by far, for the record, is one of the best communities in the United States of America. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Now, we've come such a long way as a community, and I am honored to brag about Norwood. At the same time, there comes a time when we have to stand up. If you just look around the country, you will find so much divisiveness going on. And with my new initiative, we've been doing a series of events called Come Together. And I'm so glad that we've had standing council show up and support. One note of bragging, at our last event, January the 3rd, we talked about employment opportunities. And we now can say that one young man who was struggling in his mental health and really having a hard time finding a job, he's now working full-time for the Ford Motor Company. So our initiative is working. The other thing we announced is free full-ride college scholarships. Free full-ride college scholarships. So we're really making a dent. I'm glad and proud to see that in Norwood we are acknowledging Dr. Martin Luther King's legacy. And what I want to do is challenge us this coming year that it's nice to acknowledge the work in his legacy, but it's even better when we include everybody. And there's an after-school program that's been in Norwood now for 8 years, but yet never included, never invited. So I want to challenge all of you council members to get in touch with Pastor Kirsten James. If you don't know how to reach her, she lives with me, who's doing an excellent job with these children. And let's include minorities and people of color, especially during the time that we celebrate a man of color and his legacy. With that being said, it pains me to announce that we've had residents come here and challenge business owners. We've invited standing council to come and have meetings with us, folks in the community. And I have personally invited some of our most notable business partners to come to the table. Now, I've always tried to advocate for Norwood, but because of certain protocols, and here we are on the doorstep of Black History Month, it pains me to announce that we unfortunately see that civil rights violations have been now forced to be investigated, bringing in folks like the Department of Justice, which this would be the second time I've participated in bringing them in. But I want to say to all of Norwood, I am not against Norwood. I want to see us continue to thrive and to grow and to prosper as a community. And I believe we can do this. But you as a council, our city administrators, we have a responsibility to make sure that the businesses that operate in this community understand the value and the importance of everybody feeling like they can come to the table and be treated with fairness. I'm not here to put anybody's name out there or under the bus, but I would surely encourage all of you to get involved. And one last ditch effort before this thing really hits the fan, which I will not be able to pull it back. But for 3 days, one for the Father, one for the Son, and one for the Holy Spirit, to give you all an opportunity to get with these large businesses. I've committed to the residents of Norwood to make sure that I stand and watch. And I've tried to reach out and I've tried to mediate. But these things won't go away if we don't work together. So I'm asking council, if you care enough, to reach out to some of our business partners and make sure they understand this thing is not going to go away. And we've got 3 days. And after that, I'm afraid that I will not be able to hold back those that want to push this thing forward. God bless you all. Norwood is the best community in all of America. Let's come together. God bless you.
Thank you. Moving on to special presentations, we do have 2 of those this evening. Just a reminder that council has set the time limit for these to 15 minutes. And the first presentation is Judge Jennifer Kinsley, the 1st District Court of Appeals.
Hi, I believe I submitted a PowerPoint. I'm not sure if that's able to be pulled up or not.
All right.
And if it's not, if you don't mind, I'll pull it up on my laptop.
All right.
Yeah. And I'm not going to talk for 15 minutes, so we can take just a second to get this set up. Unfortunately, I don't have a cord. Apologies for the technology here.
That's all right. We have been fighting with this other monitor all night anyway, so that kind of just adds to.
Do you have Wi-Fi? Is there
Yes.
a Wi-Fi password? What is that? Okay.
I can.
How many speakers does it take to operate a computer?
Do you want to plug this in?
Sure. Do you want to go? Wow. Okay. So while I'm getting this set up, let me just take a minute to introduce myself. My name is Jennifer Kinsley. I am the administrative and presiding judge of the 1st District Court of Appeals here in Hamilton County. I served in that role last year, and my colleagues again elected me to that role this year. And what that means is that I'm basically the chief judge for our court. And as I mentioned, I come from the Court of Appeals. Most people don't know what the Court of Appeals does or where we are. So I'm here to share a little bit about who we are, what function we serve in the legal system, to tell you a little bit about how we operate, and then to answer any questions that you may have at the end of the presentation. And hopefully I am nearing the point where the PowerPoint will work, although I still need the Wi-Fi. All right. And I'm putting my multitasking skills on display right now. Okay. Okay, well, that did not work. Oh, wait. Is this? That's why. I really apologize, everybody, but now, hopefully you're going to think this PowerPoint was worth waiting for. Okay, you want me to talk for a line? I was a lawyer before I was a judge, so we talk for a living. Okay. So close. Okay. All right. Here we go. Okay. At last, here is the PowerPoint. So as I mentioned, I'm from the 1st District Court of Appeals. I heard a lot about how Norwood was the best city. We come from the 1st District Court of Appeals, and because we're called the 1st District, we like to think we're the best court. More to come on that. So let me tell you a little bit about us. I introduced myself, but let me tell you about our court. So we're one of 12 appellate courts throughout the state of Ohio. Ohio has 88 counties, The First District Court of Appeals here in Hamilton County is one of 3 single district appellate courts. Hamilton County, Franklin County, and Cuyahoga County each have their own Court of Appeals. That leaves 9 other appellate courts to divide up the other 85 counties. So you can do the math there. The other appellate courts cover many, many counties. We have the luxury of just representing Hamilton County, and it's over 830,000 residents. We have 6 judges who sit on our appellate court. You can see their names there. I am the administrative and presiding judge, as I mentioned. Judge Marilyn Zayas is the longest serving judge on the Court of Appeals. She joined the court in 2016, so we're a court of relatively new judges. Our court is also served by a number of staff and attorneys who help us conduct our work. We have a court administrator who serves as basically the HR, CEO, sort of behind the scenes business director of the court. We have a deputy court administrator, 16 staff attorneys who help us conduct our work, and 7 administrative staff. You can see a picture of all of us there. The Court of Appeals hears cases from Hamilton County's different 5 trial courts. Our jurisdiction is very broad. On any given day, if you came to our court, you might hear a case dealing with a traffic ticket, an OVI, that's a DUI type case, something dealing with parents getting divorced and sharing custody of their children, a multi-million-dollar lawsuit, and a challenge to some kind of zoning or a building and where it was located. We deal with all different kinds of issues. We're really generalists in terms of the kinds of cases that we're asked to resolve. And we have oversight in terms of the subject matter of cases coming out of all of Hamilton County's trial courts. That includes the juvenile court, the domestic relations court, the probate court, and both of the general trial courts, the municipal court and the Court of Common Pleas. An appeal challenges final decisions from those trial courts. The process is very intensive. We conduct an extensive review looking at every single piece of paper that happened in front of the trial court. Cases are assigned to 3-judge panels. That means each judge, all 3 of us, takes a look at what happens below. Our staff attorneys assist us with that process, and we come to a collaborative decision. No single Court of Appeals judge can make a decision on their own because we're deciding in panels of 3. The process is incredibly intensive. And then for most cases, the Court of Appeals is the court of last review. We like to say we're the last stop for justice. We're the last place people can go to have their case determined. Now, the Ohio Supreme Court is on top of our court in terms of the hierarchy, but it only hears about 70 to 80 cases a year. Throughout the state. So that means the chances that your case is going to be selected by the Ohio Supreme Court are few and far between. There's a little bit more about our programming. We offer a free of charge mediation program. This is relatively new. We have an on-staff full-time mediator. She brings the parties in, talks to them about reaching a collaborative settlement in the case, and helps them decide the case on their own. We also collaborate with the Hamilton County Health Center. That's a project run through the Clerk of Court's office to provide assistance to people who are representing themselves. That's a new partnership, and it's been incredibly successful at helping ensure that people's cases are not dismissed because they don't understand the legal process. We also offer a very popular internship program. I co-direct this with one of the other judges on the court. We provide internship opportunities for high schoolers, law school students, and undergraduate students year-round. Last year, we had 26 students working with the court across the 6 judges. We offer a free annual training seminar for attorneys who practice in appellate litigation. We regularly host community groups to come and visit the court, see behind the scenes, meet the judges, see a court proceeding, ask questions. We invite anyone in Norwood who would like to take us up on that opportunity to reach out to us. I'll have some contact information in a minute. We would love to have you come visit us. And our judges are also active members of the community. We teach, we serve on boards, we volunteer, we try to be as present as possible to make sure that we're serving the constituents that we represent. Here are our goals. We want to enhance our efficiency. We want to make sure that we're supporting educational opportunities. We want to promote the professional development of our staff. And always, we want to deliver quality work and ensure justice for the parties in front of us. There's a little bit of data. We collect annual data in the beginning of the year, so I only have data from 2024. We're in the process of collecting data from 2025. As you can see, our case filings have been going up, so the number of appeals that we have each year keeps going up and up. In 2024, we had 742 appeals. That was up from previous years. In 2024, we terminated 763 appeals, so we decided more appeals than came in the door, and that was due to an ongoing backlog from COVID. You can see some of our data about how quickly we're clearing cases and how quickly we're deciding them through the clearance rate and the overage rate. We stack up pretty favorably compared to other appellate courts in those statistics. Here's some budget information. We're particularly proud of how we do more with less. So our budget comes from two different sources. Our operating or programming budget comes from Hamilton County, and our salary budget comes from the state. In both areas, we are incredibly efficient compared to the state average and to our comparator courts. So in the operating cost area, you can see our costs there. We spend $153 a case. The other two best comparators are the 10th district. That's Franklin County. It spends $217 a case. And then the 12th district, which is kind of surrounds us, you can see it there on the map, kind of makes a rainbow around us. They spend $938 a case in operating budget. And then on salary cost, we're under the state average, which is $33.60 a case. We spend $31.94 a case. And as you can see, the 12th district, our closest neighbor geographically, spends $38.07. You can see the other courts there as well. We're underneath all of those averages. So as I said, we do more with less. Here's the contact information. Many of you might be familiar with the main courthouse downtown that's located on Main Street, the historic courthouse. We're actually not in that building. We're in the 230 East 9th Street building. It was formerly called the Taft Law Center. It's now been renamed, thanks to our county commissioners, as the Taft Courthouse. It houses our court and the probate court, as well as the prosecutor's office and the public defender's office. We're on the top floor of that building. We would be happy to host you anytime. This is the way that you can get in touch with our court. We typically have oral arguments on Mondays and Tuesdays. In fact, we had many of them today. They were conducted remotely because of the weather. We broadcast our court hearings on YouTube. They're also archived and housed on our website for anyone to see after the fact as well. But when they are conducted live in public, anyone is welcome to come and watch, and we invite you and your constituents to do that. With that, I'm happy to take any questions, and I very much appreciate the opportunity to be here in Norwood. I will add one more thing. I intend to visit many other jurisdictions throughout Hamilton County to share this same information with the people that I represent and I'm grateful to represent, but my first stop is here in Norwood. So I have to agree, with the bishop that Norwood is the best. But I do intend to tell every place that. So happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Mrs. Hoover.
Through the president, thank you so much for coming. Can you tell a little bit about what are some of the challenges that you're seeing specifically in your courts that we should be aware of?
Sure. I'll highlight a couple. First of all is case load and case volume. So we have just seen a real influx, especially at the end of last year, in the number of appeals that are being filed. We track those across case type, and as best we can tell, there's no real driver of that. That might just be a snapshot or a moment in time. Time will tell. However, that is creating a resource issue on our end. So we normally hear 9 cases a week. For the first quarter of this year, we're scheduled to hear 15 cases a week with no additional resources. So you see, like our budget, we're operating very leanly. And so that is really taxing our ability to, commit ourselves. We're all putting in extra hours, extra time, working on weekends, that kind of thing, to make sure that the parties that come in front of us have a prompt answer. So I'll highlight that one. The other I would say is, just making sure that the public and the parties in front of us have the resources that they need to meaningfully engage with our process. Law can be very complex. The appellate process can be very foreign to a lot of people. We have forms that are required for our appeals, and we don't have those translated, for example, into many languages. That's a complex process because they have to be certified in order to be translated. We can't just use Google Translate to translate them. That would be nice, but we can't because that might not be correct. So that is a challenge. And then lastly, I'll highlight AI. I know everybody's talking about AI. I personally am probably more of a proponent of it than some other people in the legal space. I do see it as a tool that, helps people who are trying to represent themselves or figure out the law themselves. But that does come with challenges because it's not always accurate. So we are trying to sort that out and how we can best use AI in a meaningful way without having it make mistakes.
Mrs. Franzen.
Thank you, Mr. President. If there's a student that is interested in an internship at this court or other courts, would that contact information be the best place to start, or is there a specific person that they should reach out to?
That would be the best contact information. The phone number and email address are right here.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Mr. Bonzal.
Thank you, Mr. President. So I just had 2 questions. One, does every case, like with the U.S. Supreme Court, they only take a small percentage of cases. You might have mentioned it. Does every case get a full review, or do only some cases get it? And the second question would be, how much do you all, as the, whichever the panel of judges that look at a case, how much do you, if the law is ambiguous, have to look at Ohio Supreme Court precedent versus your personal opinions of the case? And hopefully they're relatively brief, but.
Sure. No, these are great questions. So as to the first one, which cases get full review, they all get full review. So every single case, whether it's about a parking ticket, and yes, we have had appeals about a parking ticket, or a case involving something very serious like murder, we are reading every single page of what happened. We are thoroughly considering both sides, and we are reaching a decision in writing that is available to the public. And that is happening in every case, regardless of topic. As for your second question, when the law is ambiguous or we're not sure where to look, we would look a few places. So the Ohio Supreme Court governs us. That's binding precedent. We're required to follow it. The U.S. Supreme Court also binds us, and we're required to follow it. We're required to follow the statutes enacted by the Ohio legislature. And then we can look for guidance to decisions reached by other courts, like the federal lower courts here or elsewhere, state courts in other places. And we would consider those sources if there wasn't direct binding precedent on us.
Great. Thank you.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time, and apologies for the technology issue.
Thank you.
Uh-oh, now I messed it up.
It's fine. We'll figure it out. Don't worry.
Okay.
It's just, she's on her way. She'll be here.
Yes, what we can do is we can move on with the agenda as stated, and then once Mrs. Miranda arrives, we can go ahead and allow her to present at that time.
Thank you. He's 5 minutes out.
All right. All right. So then moving on to the next item is administration reports. And we will start with Mayor Schneider.
Thank you. As you heard, and as I was listening to this presentation, you heard the ambulances go by. And, this is when you think about our police and fire, the rescue people, really with all the environmental challenges. Can you imagine taking somebody from a second floor of a home now and down a slippery steps and all of that stuff? It's really a challenge. So I wanted to talk about public works, of course, but when you hear the fire sirens going, it's right away you think about some of that stuff. Public Works has done a great job. They were planning for this. I know that both Clint and RJ were planning, and this was a sort of a nice storm because they had the chance to really sort of pre-treat and prepare. And when I say prepare, that's making sure that all the equipment is up and running and operational. We're blessed in this city to have a city garage where when a vehicle goes down, a snow vehicle, which is an emergency response vehicle, when you're talking about storms of this magnitude, we've got 2 mechanics that are there and working, and they're ready. They can weld things together. They can replace hydraulic lines. They can take care of keeping our equipment running. And we're really, I think they did a bang up job, and I think all of our public service people are challenged with this stuff, but they've risen to the challenge. We're still working on some strategic property acquisitions. It's been common knowledge that we're trying to work with Norfolk Southern to pick up the ghost tracks that run across and over to Millcrest and the train trestle and all that. We call them ghost tracks because they're 50 years there's not been a train on those tracks, and we'd like to connect the Wasson Way project up into our area. So we're still working with them. We've got a couple of different, and I've always said we're going to leverage the money as much as we can. We're going to try to leverage the money. So we're still working, and I know that Noah and Mike Skelly have a couple of forks in the fire to try to come up with some outside resources to help us acquire that and then move forward with that project. Recently, I did the State of the City presentation to the Chamber of Commerce. You should be able to see that on Norwood Community TV soon. I need to provide them with a little bit more information, but that should be up. If it's not already, it's going to be up on the Norwood Community Television. And then I also give that presentation. I change it a little bit and provide it for the Norwood Together group. Typically, they hold the community meetings. They hold quite a few community meetings, and they've asked for a presentation at that, so I'll be doing that. The financial recovery plan is being formulated and put together right now, and I'm really glad to say that the treasurer's office is heavily involved in it. The auditor's office is heavily involved in it. I know the finance committee for the city and Mr. Girton has been involved in it. I saw a really well-crafted email from Councilman Girton talking about some different items that council wants to get included in that. So it really, and people say like you talk so animated and so enthusiastic about this stuff. It almost gives me chill bumps to think of all the people that are involved in it now compared to where it used to be, compared to where the financial recovery plan was put together by the mayor, by the auditor's office, by the auditor and the mayor, really 2 people. We try to get information, but when I first started, it was the first time that we had went to the department heads and asked them to submit their budgets and get information in from the people that are using it. So it's really changed. The city's whole financial process has really changed dramatically over the last 5 years, 4 or 5 years, really. And I think, former council members, I know James, the Treasurer Bonzel was involved in it years ago, but they made changes to the way the city was accounting for certain items and really sort of segregated and targeted, and I'll use the word lockbox, but put things in place that we are seeing the benefits of on a regular basis each year. And I hope James will be reporting out a little bit about how we did in the last year, but it is really a refreshing, different way that the city of Norwood is operating, and I think we're on a path to continuous success, to long-term real, you talk about Norwood being a great city to live in, but we're gonna make it where we don't just hit this, we're not hitting peaks and valleys. We get up there and we stay there, and we hit on all cylinders for a long time. And I think that the financial recovery plan and the way that we're putting things together now makes such a huge difference. You've heard Ken Miracle, the auditor, talk enthusiastically about VIP, about the software system. And it doesn't make my skin tingle, talk about a software system that's controlling, but it really makes such a huge difference. The way that requisitions are put in and the department heads have the ability to look at the budget and look at it, and the way they can to put the purchase orders out. We're in control of our destiny. I shouldn't say we are, our department heads. So you guys fund things. You say, here's the amount of money I'm putting out there. In years past, they really couldn't see those budget numbers. They couldn't, on a daily basis, they couldn't get onto a computer in front of them and see this, but they can now. And they're trying to control cost, and they're really paying attention where they're spending money, they're paying attention. So that's sort of that controls and constraints. You can say, well, every check that goes out, you have to put in a requisition, and then this person has to look at it, and that person has to look at it. But now it's live. It's so much different. It's so different in the way that we run this city now than the way it was ran in years past. So I could probably go on for 10 minutes talking about stuff. Hopefully you will tune in and look at the Norwood Community TV site when the presentation up there, because it talks about some of the different projects that are going on, how many units are going in. We just had the groundbreaking last week at the Sherman building that's going on. The Trails project is going great. So there's just a lot of great things on there to talk about too. So with that, I'll end. I'm sorry. It went probably longer than the 5 minutes or the 15 minutes.
15.
Okay.
15. Well, that doesn't mean you use it all.
All right. Thank you, Mr. President.
Any questions for Mayor Snyder? All right, Mr. Bonzo.
Excellent. Yeah, no filibustering the meeting, Mr. Mayor. So, yeah. I just want to say, of course, as everybody said, shout out to Public Works for the great condition of the streets. And also just want to give a quick shout out, no, it's not part of the Treasury, but the businesses and the residents that make sure that their front sidewalks are completely, are clear, not just their own driveway or not just the pathway from their parking lot to their door, but the sidewalks. There's quite a few on Montgomery Road that did a great job with that, and I think that's something to be celebrated. So, and even the city, we've got a path in front of the city hall. I don't know about all of the places where the city has parks and things, but appreciate the city doing that. Everybody doing that there. I did get to go to the State of the City address last Wednesday. It was very nice. Tim Wagers, the tax commissioner, and I were there, along with Darren Hackworth and Mike Skelly, the mayor. Catherine Fitzgerald. So I think it was a very nice presentation. I know it's very appreciated by the chamber members. They were all very excited about the future direction of the city. So I think that worked out well. And I think that it's appreciated, all the updates that you give council too. I don't have, for the tax office, we are going to be posting a tax clerk position shortly. This is a position that was funded. We haven't lost anybody recently, thankfully, but this is a position that was funded through last year, just that our staff we didn't have the time to post it to train we didn't have the time to train the person because there was so much going on already. And it doesn't make a lot of logical sense about, it's hard to kind of think about that, but it takes a lot of work to train. So we've got the tax clerk position posted for internal transfers for now. I think it starts around $24 an hour. So you do not have to have direct tax experience. It does help if you've worked with numbers or kind of some type of accounting in your past, but it's somebody that's willing to learn and can learn, they can be successful in this position. So this position is actually really hard to fill. So I would encourage people, even if they think, oh, I don't know, just post for it and let's talk about it, because you might actually be the right fit and not even realize it. So I'll make sure that email gets sent out when that's posted to the public. And with that, that's all I have.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Bonzo? All right. Mr. Miracle.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd just like to share a quick story from yesterday. As Bishop James says, Norwood's the best city in the country. Yesterday I was trying to shovel my driveway. Went out there a couple times, came back in, and a little later I heard something. I looked out the window, and my next door neighbor's son, Peter Tepe, did my whole driveway and sidewalk. So that's just the way it is here. So everyone pitch in and helping out. Just wanted to share with everyone, obviously January is a very busy month in the auditor's office. We were able to get the 1099s completed and filed, and just Another quick story, all roads lead to Norwood. The gentleman from Columbus that was the president of this company, he called me, and he grew up in Norwood and went to St. Matt's as a kid. So I thought that was kind of funny. So 1099s are out, W-2s as well. We closed out the month as we sent out the end of month reports. We also closed out the year. And as Mayor Schneider had mentioned, just a collaborative effort on the FRP. The first draft was sent to Anna Mary last Friday. I feel good about that. Obviously, questions that we're answering. And one of the things I just wanted to share with the group that we have working on this, we'll get some questions, and many of those questions are answered that day or the next day. So we're really getting back to her in a timely fashion. I wanted to share also, before I get into workflow, we've put all of our fixed assets now in SSIBIP. And just thank you to Dr. Cambisi. Just so you know, that's over 3,600 items that she was able to do, and she did that on a weekend. God bless her. Also, the retiree checks, if you know anyone retired, those checks were generated today. We're getting out tomorrow, so they can look forward to that. But just getting back to what Mayor Schneider was talking about as well, the workflow that we've implemented now is completely paperless, as he had said. We have they're able to generate a request, and then they're approved, and then it comes back to our office, and the purchase orders generated. These are all done right there, no paperwork. And then when the invoice comes in, we're able to download and attach these invoices to this. So all of the information is right there for the auditors and for the audit trail. And one of the benefits of using the SSI like we're doing, yesterday we were able to get a couple email addresses from our outside auditors, and we send this, we set them up with the username and password. They're able to remotely gather the information that they need. As you may or may not know, in the past, they send 6 to 8 people down here. They're down here for a couple days. They're going all through City Hall and all around the city. It's a time-consuming function. So we're hoping to make some improvements in that area as well. So that's all I have to share this evening, Mr. President.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Miracle? Mr. Moore.
Thank you. Really more of a comment. I just want to say thank you to Mr. Miracle and his office for all the good work they're doing with the VIP analytics. Had a chance to get that on my city laptop and understand a little bit more about how that works and the flows and everything. And really what stands out to me among many things is, to Mayor's point, the kind of individual empowerment at the department head level. And I think there's a lot of really talented people who work in the city and lead these different departments, and just that extra level of, I think, ownership and transparency and whatnot, I think will be really good for them. And just want to thank you, Mr. Miracle, for the good work to, modernize these processes and sort of put our people in a better position to do their job in an effective way.
Thank you. Any other questions for Mr. Miracle? All right, Mr. Moore. Any questions for Mr. Moore? All right. Then we will go back to special presentations. And I see that Jessica Miranda has entered council chambers, and she is the Hamilton County Auditor. So you have 15 minutes to address.
All right. Thank you, Council President. I'll try to go as quickly as possible, but I would be remiss if I didn't start by saying thank you for giving me space on your agenda, and likewise, thank you for pushing it back on your agenda because of a commitment I had before this. And then just point out, bear with me as I'm super out of breath as I came up your beautiful stairs in this building. I just got emergency gallbladder surgery 10 days ago, so took my breath away getting up these beautiful stairs, but it makes me happy and smile because I know my dear friend Bridget Kelly is very proud of this building and was very, very proud to hail from the city. So I'm glad to be here tonight with you. You all have the slides of this presentation in front of you. Not sure if we can get it up on the TV as I'm going, but I will try to get through it as soon as I can here for you. Oh, there we go. Perfect. Oh, and this one, Connor? Is this little thing? I think that little tiny one is the mouse.
There we go.
All right.
He's pulling it up.
Okay, perfect. While he's getting that, thank you, Council President, I'll just talk and keep going on my 15 minutes here while we're working that up for us. So I, of course, am Jessica Miranda. I'm your Hamilton County Auditor. Very, very honored and privileged to serve you as well as the entirety of the people of Hamilton County in this position. The first slide talks a little bit about my background. I spent about 5.5 years in our prestigious State House serving in our General Assembly as a state rep and in a leadership position as the Minority Party Whip. I will tell you 5.5 years in the State House is more like 50.5 years. So thank goodness I have not lost all my hair. And before that, I was in local government like you all, locally elected officials. I served on my local school board, which is the Winton Woods City School Board. And I had the privilege of being a regular board member, a vice president, and a president. All of that to say that I have a very, very good knowledge of not only local government funding, which is what you all have tasked before you here, running Norwood's budget, but I also have a very, very good understanding of school funding in the state, as well as the Fair School Funding Plan that unfortunately was neglected out of the third phase by our state lawmakers in the last biennium budget. So with that, we can go to the next slide. I want to briefly just touch on some of the auditor's responsibilities and how you can think of our county executive office. I won't spend too much time on this particular slide because we have some more slides that back up this work that we do. But think of your county auditor as the chief financial officer of the county. We pay all of the county's bills. We are also the statutory payroll agent for the county's almost 5,000 employees. We are 1/3 of the county's board of revision, and we'll talk about all of the enhancements we've done to that portion of our website at a later slide. And I want to touch on the fact that we have what's called a weights and measures department, otherwise known as our consumer protection portion of our office. So if you've ever gone to pump gas in the county, you'll notice my seal and my name is on your gas pump. If you ever go to your local deli or produce section and you're weighing your produce or your meats and cheeses, you'll notice my name and my sticker are on those weights machines. That's because our team has been out there to ensure that that pound of turkey that you are buying is actually a pound of turkey and you're not getting ripped off. And we're making sure that that gallon of gas that you're buying is actually a gallon of gas and you're not getting shorted at the pump. So one of my favorite pieces of what we do in the auditor's office. And Mr. President, you can go to the next slide. Right now we are live in dog licensing season. Fun fact, your county auditor is the dog licensing entity by state law. I often joke that back in the 1800s when our state was founded, it's like they left a bunch of duties in a basket and said, where do these all go? Let's give it to the county auditors. And we ended up with lots of different duties outlined in administrative and state revised code. So if you have a canine friend in the county of Hamilton, it is now time to either renew your license, get a permanent license, or just get your dog licensed, period. Not only because it's Ohio state law, but because if your dog gets lost and finds its way to anyone else or in a shelter, we have a way to get your family friend back to you in a safe manner and back in the safe home they belong in. We're also live in what's called our auditor, where I'm doing events like this, showing up to your council meetings, asking for time to explain these slides and what we do for you as a county executive office, and cover a couple things that we do not do to kind of set the record straight and dispel some of that misinformation out in the community. And we're also live in one more season, which is the Board of Revision season. The Board of Revision is the statutory quasi-judicial process for which, if you do not agree with the home value that your county auditor has assigned you, you have the option here in the state of Ohio to file a complaint and present your evidence as to why you believe that should be changed. This runs 3 months, the beginning of every year. So right now, January 1st, 2026 through March 31st is when you can file a complaint, and then your case would be scheduled after that date. And then just a friendly note, we are not the county treasurer, therefore we do not collect your property taxes, but we've provided to you some information from County Treasurer Schiller's office. Her office did choose to move back the due date for property taxes this year. So the bills were mailed out on January 16th and will not be due this year until February 10th. So Still have some time to make those payments if your payments are not otherwise in escrow for your home. Next slide, Mr. President. So we serve the community, and we're very proud to do so, but we certainly do not do it all. Again, we do not collect property taxes. That's our county treasurer, Jill Schiller. We do not manage deeds. That's our county recorder, Scott Crawley. We do not provide surveys and maps. That's our county engineer, Mr. Beck. And we certainly do not make abatement or tax policy. That is you all, wonderfully and honorable locally elected officials here in the city of Norwood and your municipality partners across the state, combined with our state lawmakers who serve us in the state capitol. So in the auditor's office, next slide, Mr. President, we work in values, not in taxes. Simply put, this slide is explaining that just because your property value goes up or down 5%, that does not mean that your property tax liability or your property tax bill goes up or down and follows that exact 5%. Why? Because your property tax liability is a very, very complex formula combined with a lot of things we'll talk about in the future slides, but most importantly, the tax policy that's set by your local municipality for which you live or your political subdivision, as well as the state law. And we all know the conversation that is circulating around our communities about state law and what needs to be done to fix this property tax crisis here in the state of Ohio. And we'll talk about that in a few more slides. So, Mr. President, you can go to the next one. To illustrate the point just made on the previous slide, we have provided you a 3-area comparison, 3 different political subdivisions, including your fine city here in Norwood, as well as 2 others, just as a point of comparison, to prove just that fact. All 3 of these parcels are real houses, or real parcels as we refer to them in the auditor's office, in these communities. They all have the same likewise value, a little over $236,000 is the home value. And then you'll see down on the green row on the bottom, in the city of Cincinnati, that home valued at a little over $236,000 is paying a property tax liability of a little over $5,000 per year. That same valued property here in the city of Norwood is paying just a little over $4,000 in their property tax liability per year. And then lastly, in the city of Sharonville, again, same value of property, in the city of Sharonville, paying a little over $3,000 for their property tax liability, or almost $4,000. So this clearly illustrates that it is certainly dependent upon where you live, but also certainly dependent upon state law and the levies for which that were passed in your political jurisdiction for what makes that very complex formula that becomes your property tax bill. Next one, Mr. President. And what we've provided for you here for the city of Norwood is the current levies that you have here in the city. One, of course, is inside millage. You all, as the elected officials, get to discuss and choose and vote on that. Your outside current levy, which is the 1987 current expense outside levy, was one that had to be put on the ballot and voted by the people of Norwood. So you all know that. I don't want to sit here and belabor this point, but one is inside millage, one is outside millage. All of that to say that both of those levies currently on the books here in the city of Norwood make up 11.4 mils. But if you look down to the next box that has the dotted line around it, you will quickly notice 1 mil generates $1 per 1,000 of assessed value on any property. 11.4 mils will generate the number that's there. However, that 1987 current expense levy of yours fell before current state law was changed to give a reduction basically take away the opportunity for you all as a local municipality to use what's called reduction factors to save your taxpayers here in your city a little bit of money. In other words, your mills, though they look like you're collecting 11.4, you're really collecting 1.55 to 3.9 mils here in the city of Norwood. So again, this is very, very complex. I, of course, can talk to any of you all outside of this meeting and answer any questions you may have, but suffice it to say, your net distribution of what you are getting in real life is different than what it is on paper because those reduction factors were in state law for a reason, and that reason was to reduce the burden on property tax owners such that they're not seeing huge increases in their property tax bill. And unfortunately, if you were to make a decision to change that levy and not simply renew it and keep it on the books as is, you would lose those reduction factors and run the risk of your property tax bills here in Norwood increasing a lot for your property taxpayers. So wanted to provide that information for you as a current events or current affairs, if you will. And with that, we'll go right into the reappraisal process. I'm sorry, I'm talking really, really fast, but I'm trying to meet my time. So we, as you know, are also the real property assessors as prescribed by state statute here in Ohio. We are tasked with doing annual reviews of property values in the form of permits and new construction. We're also tasked with doing what's called a triennial reassessment, which is our every 3 years. That assessment is more of a desktop review where we are looking at comparable sales in any given area. And then, of course, we do what's called a mass reappraisal or mass appraisal in the county every 6 years. The last one we completed was in 2023. So I'm sure you all heard a lot about that going on. We've gotten through that Board of Revision process on time, I might add, the gold standard out of all 88 counties in the state of Ohio. If I can pat myself on the back and my entire team of civil servants who make that possible. Our next mass reappraisal won't be until the year 2030. Not sure if you saw the governor's press release that went out. We would have originally had our next mass reappraisal in 2029, but the governor chose to move some of those back in some counties, and our county was one of them that fell in there. So next big one is 2030, and just want you to be aware of the timeliness of these processes. These are driven by state law. We cannot not do them, right? We have to do them. We have to keep our tax bases accurate, and we have to value at what's called FMV or fair market value. So your home, and therefore your home's value, will likely fluctuate with how the market is doing, and that is how this process works. Next slide, Mr. President. Okay, so real quickly, I will fly through the next couple slides just to inform you that not only has our website changed, but the look and the feel of it has changed, but we are now compliant with federal law that has gone into effect or will go into effect here in 2026, where all government websites, or at least one of our size, has to be completely accessible to the public, meaning there is now an accessibility plugin on our website. You can change our website into many different fonts, like a dyslexia font. You can change our website into many different colors to meet several different layers of color blindness. We also have added a translation tool. This is important. We have about 120,000 visitors per month to the Hamilton County Auditor's Office website, and they come from over 100 different countries. So the translation tool is actually a very, very great asset. And then I know it's not sexy government work, but we have a search bar now. And you wouldn't believe how amazing that search bar has turned out to be for the people of Hamilton County who are searching for things. You can type in whatever you're looking for instead of using those drop-down menus, and it'll pop it up everywhere on the website that it's available. And continuing on to the next slide, we have also revamped our Board of Revision portion of our website. When I was appointed to this office, we were in the heat of the 2023 Mass Reappraisal Board of Revision section of our work, if you will. And we heard lots of feedback, some good, some bad, about what is available at the fingertips of homeowners here in Hamilton County. We took that very, very seriously, that feedback, and we not only have a 3 to 4 part video series that's now available on this page, but we also have an entire Q&A section explaining to folks what the Board of Revision process is, what they should expect, what evidence they should be bringing. And my favorite piece of what we've done here on this page is if you go to print out a complaint form to fill it out and file a very case of your own, there will be a nice little pop-up button that pops up and says, "Did you read the directions?" And you must click yes or no. Again, I know it's not sexy work, but listen, we're trying to be as accessible and transparent as we possibly can to the people of Hamilton County and our shared constituencies. You all have probably seen this page. This is the front page of any given property search where you search a parcel here in Hamilton County. This page has a wealth of information. I will say here and on the record that our former longtime county auditor, Dusty Rhodes, was very forward-thinking on our website. When I say to you it is the gold standard across the entire state, I mean that. There are counties across the state that call us all of the time and ask how they can get like us and ask how we are able to do the things that we are able to do. And it's because we have a lot of dedicated civil servants in the background of our work to make sure this is possible. Because what is most important to us in the auditor's office is transparency, accountability, and innovation. And so our website is very innovative and was innovative in 1993 in its time when it first formed into what it is now today. So you can find so much information here, but Mr. President, if you'll go to the next one. Uh-oh, is that my timer?
That is.
Okay, we're going to stop on my favorite slide then. Speaking of transparency, you'll find there's about 350,000 pieces of property here in our county. We are the third largest county in the state. Every single property will show you in down to the penny where every penny of your property tax dollars are going. You will notice the largest part of most everyone's pie graph is what? Our public schools. Why? Because public school funding is still unconstitutional here in the great state of Ohio. Lawmakers had a chance to fix that, and they abandoned the third phase of the Fair School Funding Plan. And I will say that as loud and proud as possible until something is done about it, because that is the reason for which it is unconstitutional as prescribed by the Supreme Court or decided by the Supreme Court of Ohio, because it is over-reliant. The burden to pay for schools is over-reliant on us as the property owners. The state should be putting in their fair share. Okay, so the next slides, I know I'm going over my time, but there's information in here about the rental registration program. Just know that in the auditor's office, we understand if you as a political jurisdiction want to have your own rental registration program for your landlords, and we respect that. We just ask for collaboration because we are the statutory agent for this. It is state law that landlords have to file, they must file their rental registration form with the county auditor. And we want to make sure our records match and that we're catching everybody, because there's a lot of rental fraud going on, and our website is a great way for prospective tenants or current tenants to actually go and make sure they're talking to a real person first and foremost, but also talking to an actual real landlord that owns that property so that they're not getting taken advantage of. The last couple slides talk about the homestead exemption. Hopefully most of you have heard me speak about this before. This is one of 2 property tax relief programs that we are allowed to operate and run for the state of Ohio, because again, we are a county executive office. We have to follow state code and state law. We are the executors of the program, and they are in charge of fixing it when it's not adequate. I'm here to tell you, as someone who used to serve in the State House and follows the happenings of the State House very closely, that if we truly wanted to do something and provide real property tax relief that translated to dollars and cents off of people's tax bills, they would do something about the homestead exemption. There used to be a time in this state where the homestead exemption was for everyone 65 and older. There's now an income cap on it, so it boxes a lot of senior citizens out of the program. And I don't need to explain to all of you why senior citizens are important people in our communities. They are pillars, and if they want to stay in their home and choose to do that, they should be able to do so and afford to do so on the fixed incomes that they live on. So this is the number one thing that county auditors all across the state roam the state house halls for and provide hours of testimony for. It's the number one thing on our 4-pillared approach to fix the property tax crisis here in Ohio. It's lost its luster. You can go to the next one. The program has lost what I would call its bang for its buck. This graphic is a perfect example. A little over a decade ago, the average home value was $155,000. That senior citizen was benefiting or saving $565 off of their tax bill. Now, in 2024, the most recent or last large reappraisal, not only have our values increased up to 70%, the homestead exemption was not indexed for inflation, and the credit has only gone up to $607. So as you can see, it is no longer getting the bang for its buck for our senior citizens as it once was, and state lawmakers should be doing something about that. And so I've asked if you could help me, help you advocate at the state level, contact your state reps, your state senators, even the governor who created a property tax working group, and please express to them how important that is for the senior citizens, not only here in Norwood, but across the entire state. Because if we were truly serious about putting money back in people's pockets, it would be addressing the homestead exemption, of course, followed closely by addressing fair school funding here in the state of Ohio. And then lastly, the last slide, of course, looks like any closing slide that you would see on a PowerPoint presentation. Keep going, Mr. President. One more time. But I'm here to tell you that this is historic in nature for our county. The county auditor's office has never been on social media until now. I know that sounds wild, but we know that people access their information in lots of different ways here in 2026. Social media is one of them, so it's important to us to put information on certain platforms. So we are on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and all of the videos that you find on our website are also located on our YouTube page. So please, if you have residents here in the city of Norwood, the third largest city in our fine county, our third largest county in the state of Ohio, please direct them to our contact information. We stand at the ready, a very open door policy to help anyone that needs assistance. And please, for all of the electeds and administrators in the room and even people in the audience and folks watching elsewhere, please go to our website, check your property, make sure you're getting the homestead exemption if you think you qualify for that, the owner occupancy credit if you live full-time in your home, or if you know a property is a rental property and they don't have a rental registration, please contact us. We care deeply about the information being accurate because we care deeply about it being accessible and transparent to the people of Hamilton County. So again, flew through that, what's normally a 30-minute presentation, so sorry for going over, but I am able to answer any questions that anyone on the dais may have as well.
Any questions? Mayor Schneider?
I would like to go back to the tax levy slide where you talked about basically, the renewal, and if it's not a renewal, how that can really cause a problem for us because we have a renewal coming up and some tax levy. I'm sure other members would have questions potentially. I think it was the boxed in portion of this slide. I'd like a better understanding of that because we've renewed an operating levy since General Motors days when we absolutely catastrophically needed it.
Yeah.
And we've renewed that over the years on a regular basis pretty easily. But what are the ramifications of saying, well, we're not going to renew that, let's do something different, or if you could.
Well, Mr. Mayor, to your question, again, state law has changed since 1987, and the state lawmakers decided that the reduction factors were costing them too much money in their biennium budget, and they have gotten rid of that opportunity for all new levies placed on the ballot. The only way you get around that for a local jurisdiction like Norwood or a school district or any other taxing authority is to continually renew the current one you have on the books. Again, we understand that the cost of the dollar in 1987 is not the same as it is today in 2026. So that levy may not be generating the type of funds that you may need to efficiently and fiscally responsibly run the third largest city and the third largest county in the state of Ohio. But that is why it is very important that we advocate for sound fiscal policy at the state level and hold our state lawmakers accountable for decisions that they've made that directly and fiscally directly impact us here in local jurisdictions all across the state. So you'll probably recall school districts have a very, very difficult time passing school levies to begin with. This makes it even more difficult to pass the type of funds that they need to educate every child equitably. Similarly, in local political jurisdictions, whether it's a city like Norwood, a township, or a village, the same could be said for their bottom line and their budget. It costs a lot more to provide the quality of life to your citizens that they expect and deserve than it did in 1987, and that's why sound fiscal policy is important. But what we wanted to show you simply with this breakdown as it pertains to the city of Norwood is just to be cognizant of that and talk amongst your administration to decide, and again, obviously with our team as well, our budget and settlement team stands at the ready to help you, and you all know that. We've talked a lot this year about other resolutions that were sent to us, but it's a cause for concern, and it's a policy that, of course, is not helping local governing entities like yourselves, and it certainly isn't helping the people who are tasked with paying property tax liability.
Thank you. Any other? Mr. Moore?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. I have a couple questions, if I may. So just on this slide, are there, let's say, levy-oriented types of resources or trainings that your office offers?
Not directly through our office, because that's not under our purview, but I would suggest that you work amongst yourselves and within your administration to figure out what's the best and right step forward for the city of Norwood. And of course, I'm sure what questions we can't answer for you, we will find an answer for you in our office. But there's no current education that we offer or could possibly offer for that matter.
Got it.
under our administrative guidelines and duties prescribed by Ohio State Code. Disclaimer, asterisk.
Yes, thank you. Another one would just be on your like property comparison slide, Cincinnati, Norwood, Sharonville. It's immediately preceding this one. There you go. Do you keep, or is there a sort of like effective rate ranking of all municipalities in the county?
Yes, that's on our website. You can use the search bar, or you could email Connor tomorrow morning and he'll get it for you.
Okay. This is Connor here?
Yes. By the way, Connor's position is also historic within the county auditor's office. And sorry to take your question time, but I just want to point this out. There has never been a public affairs department in our county auditor's office. That was very, very important to me, to be not only a fiscal agent of the public, but to be someone out here and able to educate my fellow elected officials and people in our shared constituencies. Connor and his counterpart in his department, Willow Lopez, who scheduled this meeting as our community engagement liaison, they're in charge of making sure I can get out to all of you in the community and provide this vital information for, again, the people of Hamilton County whom we serve. So he can help, I can help, anyone in our office can help, but of course that search bar, you can type in tax rates, and it actually brings up even a comparison of collected taxes amongst all municipalities as well. And we do have a rank one that shows us
Rates of taxation on our real estate tax page.
and it ranks every municipality from top to bottom as well in the county.
Thank you. And then just the last question. This is hypothetical. I don't know anyone who would do this, but say there was somebody who were fond of property-related data projects and may or may not hunt and peck transpose through the auditor site into a spreadsheet. Is there a collaborative sort of data projects person that one might work with in your office?
Yes, Connor will take your
Also
call
Connor.
anytime.
All right.
Not only are we elected officials, but we are civil servants as well who stand at the ready to help you with anything you're looking for on our website or beyond. And if it's something that doesn't exist, we can talk about the best way to pull that, because there's many different ways to pull or export information from our website via in Excel, PDF, CSV, and we can help you and guide you on what the best way to pull that information is, especially if it is very, very large, considering we have 350,000 parcels in our community. So yes, we can help.
Any other questions? Mrs. Bowen.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for being here today.
Absolutely.
Taking the time out to do this. I remember Dusty Rhodes being our auditor for my entire life, it feels like. And the most I ever knew about what he did or what his job was or what the auditor even was that I worked at a fabric store and his sticker was on every yardstick. And that is all that I knew about it. So before
That's a good one. I've got to work that into the presentation.
Yeah.
Although Joanne's is out of business, I guess. So.
Well, I work at Hancock's. That's the ancient.
There you go.
I am married to a wonderful woman who is the nosy neighbor. So she spends a lot of time on your website, and she looks up things about our house. And she actually 2 days ago asked me a question about appraisals, and I made up an answer. So I would love to know if I was right about that. She said, how are improvements measured? Like how are appraisals done without there being an in-person appraiser? And I, in a former life, was a banker, so I used that as sort of a base for the answer, but I would love to know the answer to that question.
Yeah, and I appreciate you trying to answer the question. I really do. I'm in the insurance business. I'm an insurance broker, so there's definitely a different way I would answer that question for insurance purposes as well. But as your county auditor, we have certified and licensed appraisers that work in our office, both on the commercial and residential side. They are licensed through the state of Ohio, and they follow IAAO standards, which is like the International Association of Appraisers on the open market, we'll call it. So that is a very, very stringent, very, very professional designation and process that they follow. The challenge that we have as being a real property assessor without being able to go inside the property is that we could miss, a kitchen that was completely renovated and maybe the proper permit wasn't pulled in their municipality. We'll call it Norwood, say they didn't file an actual permit to add that additional bathroom on. And then since we're getting into the Super Bowl season, this is not a joke, by the way, this is true. We will get several phone calls. Connor will gladly and happily take those phone calls and those emails of people who go to Super Bowl parties in each other's basements or their neighbor's house. And then they call us up and say, Jill and Joe or whomever has 3 bedrooms, not 2, as it says on your website, or there's a full, completely renovated basement and that doesn't show on your website. They have a 4th bathroom in the website and it doesn't reflect that. And then our civil servants have to do the job of contacting the homeowner because, again, I can't express enough how important permits are. And hopefully we're singing the same sermon here in the city of Norwood. But if you do work on your home, please pull the proper permits or make sure your contractors are pulling the proper permits, because that's the only way it gets communicated to our office at the county level, and then we can sufficiently update it on the website. But there's no, what does 3 bathrooms cost versus 4 bathrooms? Every property is different and every property has different characteristics that go into that appraisal formula. And of course, I would be remiss if I didn't point out that that's the reason why mass reappraisals don't always get everything 100% right, and why we here in the state of Ohio have a board of revision process such that citizens can contest the value of their house if they believe something should be different. And we do offer in those cases to go inside the house to send an appraiser. Sometimes people happily have us in their humble abode. Sometimes people decline. And then, if you decline, help me help you. I'm trying to figure out the best assessment and value for your home. But that's the best way that I can answer that for IAAO standards here in Ohio. Absolutely.
Any other questions?
All right.
Thank you.
Well, thank you all. I appreciate the time, and thank you for staying a little later than usual.
Thank you.
All right, moving down on the agenda, we have second readings of ordinances and resolutions. We have one, and that is an ordinance repealing Section 1305.20 of the Norwood Codified Ordinances entitled Plumbers Licenses and Registration, and making related amendments to other sections of the Norwood Codified Ordinances. Mrs. Franzen.
I move that we have the second reading of this.
Motion by Mrs. Franzen to have the second reading of the ordinance. Mrs. Hoover.
I second.
Seconded by Mrs. Hoover. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Franzen?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoover?
Yes.
Mr. Provence?
Yes.
Mrs. Bowling?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Girton?
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan?
Yes.
All members present voting yes, the motion carries. Please have the second reading of the ordinance.
An ordinance repealing section 1305.20 of the Norwood Codified Ordinances entitled Plumbers License and Registration, and making related amendments to other sections of the Norwood Codified Ordinances.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda, introductory readings of ordinances and resolutions. We have one, and that is an ordinance to change appropriations for the year 2026 and declaring an emergency. Mr. Girton.
Make a motion to suspend the rules and have all 3 readings of the ordinance.
Motion by Mr. Girton to suspend the rules and have all 3 readings of the ordinance. Mrs. Hoover.
I'll second.
Seconded by Mrs. Hoover. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Franzen?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoover?
Yes.
Mr. Provence?
Yes.
Mrs. Bowling?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Girton?
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan?
Yes.
All members present voting yes, the motion carries. Please have all 3 readings of the ordinance.
Ordinance to change appropriations for the year 2026 and declaring an emergency. Ordinance to change appropriations for the year 2026 and declaring an emergency. Ordinance to change appropriations for the year 2026 and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. Mr. Girton.
Make a motion that we pass the ordinance.
Motion by Mr. Girton to pass the ordinance. Is there a second? Mrs. Hoover.
I'll second.
Seconded by Mrs. Hoover. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Franzen?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoover?
Yes.
Mr. Provence?
Yes.
Mrs. Bowling?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Girton?
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan?
Yes.
All members present voting yes, the motion carries. Moving on to unfinished business. Is there any unfinished business? Mrs. Franzen.
Yes. So there had been a discussion to try to have a standing meeting of all of our different committees, and I wanted to figure out what would work best for the other members of the committee I am the head of. I wanted to do this last time, but I was sick, so figured to do it now. So I wanted to propose maybe the second Tuesday before council, since we don't have finance committee meeting that day. That would be right before council. Tuesday works pretty well for me typically, but I'm open to any other suggestions for those of us on the Parks Committee.
Mrs. Hoover.
So the next one would be February the 10th. Would that be correct?
Yes, prior to the next council meeting on February the 10th would be the next one. And like with finance, I figure it would be a recurring committee. We don't have to have it every month. We don't need to, but we just know that that is the time and date that it could happen. All good?
Sounds good.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I'm looking at you like you're on I'm thinking of finance. My bad. Okay, cool.
I would also just share that we talked about doing all of them at the committee of the whole, so you didn't really miss anything.
Oh, great.
But I love that you got the prime spot because
That's right.
You're so organized.
All right.
So to confirm, that would be the Parks, Recreation, and Public Places Committee,
That is correct.
the second Tuesday of the month,
Yes.
council chambers.
Yes.
Was there a time?
6:30.
All right.
And I will, in previous times, there have not been any other meetings scheduled for that time, like BZA stuff, but I will confirm with Angela to make sure that there's nothing I've forgotten for that Tuesday.
All right. Anything else under unfinished business? Since you mentioned committee of the whole, I will bring up the fact that I will have to reschedule or cancel the first February meeting because I have another engagement taking place and I cannot be both places at once. So I still have all of the items on the agenda, but I cannot have the meeting that night. So we can look at was that a
Request.
Yes.
I would love if we could reschedule it because I've got 3 other items to put in there.
Yes. The plan will be to reschedule. Mrs. Bowling.
I don't have access to my work schedule for the month of February yet, so I would not be able to guarantee a date.
All right. I can shoot that to everyone, some proposed dates in an email as opposed to trying to iron that out tonight. Mr. Moore.
Just as a procedural matter, and to be clear, Mr. Gears, I love having your company. Would that be a potential situation in the future where the President Pro Tem could conduct that meeting in potential absence?
I don't see why not.
Okay, thank you.
Mrs. Hoover.
I'd love to put my items into the committee of the whole meeting, or should that go under?
We can do that under new.
business? Okay. So I can
The only
jump
reason
back.
I mentioned this under unfinished was because I had announced at the previous meeting when there was going to be a committee of the whole. Any other unfinished business? Mrs. Hoover.
I always have a couple fun things. I want to give a huge thank you to everyone who participated in the MLK Day of Service. We had, it was a miserable day, freezing cold. We still had a ton of volunteers. I do need to call out, every council member volunteered, which was just really lovely. Mr. Provins did an entire school by himself in frigid weather. Mr. Moore was at Williams with one of the librarians from the Norwood Library. Her son is a student at Williams, and she had seen the flyer that I made there. Mr. Miracle was there at Baby Bear. Mrs. Bowling showed up at 2 different volunteer events. Three. She gets the bonus. Former council member Candace Winterbauer did a couple events. Did I already say Ken Miracle was there? It was really such a beautiful event. Every year it gets more robust, better. Clearly doing outdoor activities is something I think we're going to set down because that was really brutal. But if you're interested in participating, if you're interested in supporting, I've had the same email for 4 years now, shoover@norwoodohio.gov. Would love to connect with you about that. And that's all I have under unfinished.
All right. Any other unfinished business? Any new business? Mrs. Bowling.
I've just got a short kind of heads up about a communication that we're going to be receiving. I met with Sean Riney, the government relations officer. Is that his title? Great. More or less, I'll settle for that, at Xavier this past week about making potential use of some alternate exit routes after basketball games. So he will be sending a communication to council for hopefully our next meeting, and we're going to be setting up a community conversation surrounding that with folks who would be impacted, just to get feedback, see if that's something that we would be interested in pursuing. So look forward to that soon.
Thank you. Mrs. Hoover.
The items I'd love to put into the committee of the whole, a request for published agendas to be put out on our social media avenues. Community survey, it's been live for over a year, and it's time for us to start digging through all that stuff. That'll be super fun. And then my last, and I appreciate the mayor and Mr. Miracle sharing about the way folks in Norwood showed up during the storm. We had a gentleman, Mr. Solomon, he shoveled the police department lot. A woman on Facebook shared that neighbor Elliot, sorry, I just got a text from my son that was very distracting. That Elliot helped his neighbor Nancy shovel her walk. My next door neighbor Pepe has a like a snow blower. He did our walk. Some anonymous person cleared the path to the food pantry on Cathedral. So that's Norwood. You know, you're always helping out your neighbors, pushing the college kids out of snowbanks. And then in terms of public works, I mean, they are really just the best. I reached out to Mr. Zimmerman because Mr. Moore kind of liked the numbers. He said that they were out from 2 p.m. Saturday until 8 p.m. last night continuously. And they will be doing what they can during the day. They did lose one truck along the way, so they were down to 3 large trucks and 1 small truck. And they probably spread about 250 tons of salt. Remember, we have over 122 miles in Norwood, and these guys were really working their tails off. And I just wanted to make sure that they know how deeply we appreciate them. And I know that it is challenging for lots of folks, and the patience goes a long way. Appreciating your neighbors goes a long way. So if we can focus on that, that would be awesome. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Just to clarify, was there a third item you wanted to put in committee of the whole, or you had 3 items under new business?
Did I say 3?
Yeah.
Put requests for published agendas.
Yep.
Oh, that I don't need to put in committee of the whole. That's just for you. Community survey and snow.
You're putting snow in
Oh, no, that was just a new item.
Okay. Thank you. Just wanted to clarify.
The fact that there's snow.
No more snow. We're all good.
All right. Any other new business? All right. Then we will move on to communications. The first is a letter from Mayor Victor Snyder regarding December Mayor's Court fines.
Dear Mr. President and council members, enclosed, please find the report for Norwood Mayor's Court for the month of December 2025. Should you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact me. Sincerely, Victor Snyder, Mayor.
Mrs. Bowling.
I move that we receive and file the communication.
Motion to receive and file the communication. Is there a second? Mrs. Franzen.
A second.
Seconded by Mrs. Franzen. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Franzen?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoover?
Yes.
Mr. Provence?
Yes.
Mrs. Bowling?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Girton?
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan?
Yes.
All members present voting yes. The motion carries. The next item is a letter from Mr. Miracle regarding EOM reports.
Honorable Joe S. Gears and the Honorable City Council. Pursuant to the recommendation of the Auditor of State in the report on accounting methods each month, upon completion of the financial report, copies of the reports will be sent via email to all department heads and elected officials for their review. Each month, the receipt of such report shall be recorded in the minutes of City Council. The following reports will be provided: audit trail by account, bank report, encumbrance report, expense audit trail, expense report for current year, expense report with encumbrance detail, revenue audit trail, revenue report, and statement of cash. Respectfully, Ken Miracle, Auditor.
Mrs. Bowling.
I move that we receive and file the communication.
Motion to receive and file the communication. Mrs. Franzen.
I second.
Seconded by Mrs. Franzen. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Franzen?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoover?
Yes.
Mr. Provence?
Yes.
Mrs. Bowling?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Gurdon?
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan?
Yes.
All members present voting yes, the motion carries. Next item is from the Ohio Division of Liquor Control regarding In Time Solutions 29022 LLC. Mrs. Franzen.
I move that we receive and file this communication as if read with no objections on our end.
All right. And is there a second? Mr. Gurdon.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Gurdon. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Franzen?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoover?
Yes.
Mr. Provence?
Yes.
Mrs. Bowling?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Gurdon?
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan?
Yes.
All members present voting yes, the motion carries. The next item is those are the minutes from the Norwood Tree Board. Mrs. Franzen.
I move that we receive and file these minutes as if read.
Motion to receive and file as if read. Mrs. Bowling.
I'll second.
Seconded by Mrs. Bowling. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Franzen?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoover?
Yes.
Mr. Provence?
Yes.
Mrs. Bowling?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Gurdon?
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan?
Yes.
All members present voting yes, the motion carries. The next item, last communication, is from Keith Moore, Law Director, a request for executive session.
Dear President and members of Council, I'm requesting that the Council go into executive session during the meeting scheduled for January 27th, 2026. The purpose of this session is to discuss matters regarding pending or imminent litigation. I respectfully ask that this item be placed at the conclusion of the meeting agenda. Sincerely, Keith B. Moore, Norwood Law Director.
Mrs. Hoover.
I make a motion, we receive and file the letter and go into executive session.
For the
reasons stated.
Thank you. Mr. Moore.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Moore. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Franzen?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoover?
Yes.
Mr. Provence?
Yes.
Mrs. Bowling?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Gurdon?
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan?
Yes.
All members present voting yes, the motion carries. At this point, council will enter executive session. Those who are not part of the elected officials or administration within the city, I ask that you leave council chambers, and we will let you know upon the conclusion of the executive session, but the only thing left after that will be to adjourn. Thank you. All right, council has now returned from executive session. We have no absent members this evening. Mr. Gurdon.
Make a motion that we adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Mrs. Bowling. Seconded by Mrs. Bowling. Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Franzen,
Yes, thank you.
Mrs. Hoover,
Yes.
Mr. Provins,
Yes.
Mrs. Bowling,
Yes.
Mr. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Gurton,
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan.
Yes.
All members present voting yes. The motion carries. This meeting is hereby adjourned.
So